Hello, my name's Michael Conneely and I teach the courses on the Druid Forest School about visionary contact with the Irish gods and goddesses and celebration of the 8 great festivals and energy work that's come down to us from the ancient Irish Druids. And I'm making this video to show you a very special site that's 5 miles from the healing centre that Maggie and I run in the far west of Ireland. It's only 5 miles from our village, but this spot is beautifully remote. And I want to start by showing you one of the special features, which is a crannog. Now, before you actually look at it, I want to say a crannog is like a lake village or a small lake settlement. And this particular crannog was used for a number of purposes, but certainly archaeological evidence proves that a major use was in the working of iron. And the advantage of a crannog is that it's partially or completely surrounded by water, and so it's very defensible. So if you'd like to have a look at the crannog in the lake. And you can see how beautiful the lake is, the willows just coming into leaf. There's absolutely lovely mountain ranges to the right which you can't see, but to the left there is Naifin Mountain, which was the site of an ancient glacier, and indeed in one stage in the last ice age was completely covered in ice. And below Naifin over there is Lahardane, which is Ireland's Titanic Village. The villagers were very oppressed by famine and the rent demands of the English landlord, and so something like 16 or 20 of them set off to the United States to seek a new life. But tragically, the boat they booked onto was the Titanic, and only one survived, and there's a beautiful monument to the others in the village itself. But to return to this lake is actually of huge geological importance. You see, I don't know if you can see, but the lake is actually surrounded by a circle of low hills. And so it's actually what is called a pingo topography. What's that? Well, basically, under the lake is a spring. And that can be proved because coming in at this end, there's not much water flowing in the tiny stream, but there's a load flowing out at that end. And that's not because of land drainage, it's all the year round, it's a spring. And what happens with a pingo topography, that's an Inuit Eskimo word, because that's where they're mainly found, is that the spring is rising forcefully through the rock and to the surface soil. And of course, in the Ice Age, it freezes. And so you get an ever bigger mound or ball or mountain of ice forming. And it rises above the surface of the ground, never melting, but ever forced upwards by the spring below. And so what happens is that the rocks and soil that were on top of the area of the mountain of ice start to slide down the sides of the ice mountain. So they form these low banks. They're about 30 foot high all the way round, meaning that weirdly the lake, as it now is surrounded by a girdle of low hills. And this is like, really unique to find in Great Britain or Ireland, a pingo topography. But why was it important? Well, the thing is, the rock strata that the ball of ice pushed upwards and then that slid off to the sides is iron rich. And so in the Irish Iron Age, this was a site for one of Ireland's most high prestige social classes, the Smiths. They even had their own Smith god. And so this became known to them as a place where they could find globules of iron ore. If you walk on this beach, you can still find them. And so they heated the iron and then treated it into weapons, farm implements, and items of adornment, much sought after by the local rulers and the local peoples in the Celtic Iron Age, which ended with the start of the Middle Ages, the conversion to Christianity. And so these hard-working, skilled craftsmen were camped out on that Crannog. It's actually surrounded by by wooden stakes. You may be able to see 3 sticking out into the lake at the end. So they had to be able to defend their work, their tools, their lives. So it's a fascinating site, and it's very much part of the Druid Forest School studies to study the spirituality of the Iron Age Irish and their way of life. But more than that, there's a couple of other fascinating archaeological features on the beach surrounding this lake. One is deer traps. Now these are much older. These are Paleolithic, or rather, Neolithic people. They put wooden spikes into the beach at different angles, and then the deer would bound along and land on them. Or even they could spook a herd of deer so that the deer were made to charge in a particular direction and end up on the deer traps. And there's about 12 of those deer traps that have survived to modern times. The peat has preserved the bottom of the upright stakes. And even more fascinating, maybe, there's remains of ancient Irish sort of field kitchens, basically pits, which were filled with water. And the thing is, they lit a big fire beside the pit and heated up a load of stones, and then put about 25 stones into the pit to start off the cooking. And that water would boil very, very quickly, come to boiling in less than half an hour. They'd rake out the stones and put in the slices of meat wrapped in straw. And there have been experiments literally on this site. The meat cooked quality is absolutely fantastic. If the water cooled off a bit, they'd throw in some more red hot stones. And so this little lock, only 5 miles from the village where our healing centre is, where we work face to face and with many worldwide healings and courses and astrology readings that I do and astrology courses. And yet there's this beautiful site that is a total window onto the Druid Irish Iron Age and more ancient archaeology going back into the Druid Bronze Age and Neolithic as well. So have a look at my Druid Forest School website, and you yourself can learn the wisdom of the spiritual path of the ancient Irish that was practiced here. Thank you.